Microsoft's been chasing the perfect tablet laptop combo for years. So is this finally it? Let's talk. Hi everyone, Thao here. So the Surface Pro's always been this really cool idea, right? A laptop and tablet in one, running full Windows so you can get real work done. But honestly, it's never felt like a true tablet. This new 12-inch Surface Pro is smaller, lighter, more affordable with trimmed down specs and a design that actually feels more tablet-like. Let's talk numbers. It's about 21% lighter and 16% thinner than last year's model. There's only a 1-inch difference in screen size, but if I stack them on top of each other, you can clearly see that the footprint is actually quite a bit smaller. But what really makes it feel more tablet-like for me are the design tweaks. It's fanless now, so they've cleaned up the sides. No vents, no sharp edges. It's smoother, rounder, and just feels way nicer to hold. They even rounded off the edges of the built-in kickstand to keep the whole thing as seamless as possible. On the front, it's a 90Hz LCD with about 400 nits of brightness. It's fine indoors, but does struggle a bit outdoors. It's also fairly reflective, which doesn't help. On the plus side, the uniform bezels do give it a way cleaner look, and they also give your thumbs a comfortable spot to rest no matter how you're holding it. It's a decent looking LCD that gets the job done, but after using OLED phones and tablets, this just feels okay, like nothing special. If you're used to 120Hz screens, 90Hz feels just okay. It looks smooth with the trackpad, but scrolling or swiping with touch feels a bit jittery. At least the speakers make up for it. They're clear, well balanced, and get nice and loud. So yeah, thumbs up for the build improvements. It finally feels like a tablet in the hand, but the display could use a little more love. The Slim Pen 2 has a new home. Instead of hiding in the keyboard cover like before, it now snaps right onto the back to charge. Why the change? Well, you don't have to lug around the keyboard cover just to store or charge the pen anymore. It's another move to make this feel more like a tablet. At first, I thought, great, this is just gonna get knocked off in my bag, but the magnets are super strong. Even if you try to stick it on the wrong way, it literally flips itself into place. Like, what? That's crazy. Obviously, it being knocked off is still possible, so a sleeve when traveling is probably a good idea. As for writing, it's decent. I'd still put Samsung's S Pen and the Apple Pencil a tier above when it comes to latency and overall feel, but this is still solid for notes or sketches. The shape takes some getting used to, but I appreciate that it doesn't roll around like crazy on a desk. You've got handy shortcuts, there's a side button for right-clicking or highlighting text, and the back end can actually be used as an eraser. The coolest part though has to be the haptic feedback. It actually mimics friction, so it feels a lot more like writing on paper than it should. Too bad it only works in certain Microsoft apps though. Now, as much as this feels more like a tablet in the hand, Windows is still a desktop-first system. Its strength is that it can run real desktop apps like full-blown browsers, Word or Excel, stuff an iPad or Android tablet just can't touch. But as an actual tablet, Windows just isn't as smooth as or intuitive. To be fair, the UI does become a bit more touch-friendly the moment you pull the keyboard off. I appreciate that the taskbar and menu bar expand to make them easier to tap. And for what it's worth, resizing and snapping windows is a pretty good experience with your fingers. For casual stuff like surfing the web, watching videos, or note-taking, it holds up fine. Plus, having a full desktop browser with extensions is a big win. But a big part of why people love iPads and Android tablets is the App Store. The Windows Store is just not on the same level. A lot of the mobile apps you might want to use won't be available. Most of the popular social media and streaming apps are here though, but they're basically just websites wrapped up like apps. They work fine and will get the job done, but there's limitations. With some of the streaming apps, you're not able to download shows or movies for offline watching. That's a bit of a pain if you like to watch stuff on a plane, for example. Personally, I don't even bother with the apps. I just end up using the browser for everything. So Microsoft had to make a new keyboard to fit the smaller reshaped surface. No Bluetooth like the Flex, no more angled typing. It just sits flat on your lap or a table. But because it doesn't have that extra pen flap, swapping it on and off feels quicker, which actually makes me want to pop it off and use it as a tablet more often. The back's still covered in that soft Alcantara, but the front has this smooth new finish. I've already managed to rip mine Don't know how, but you can see the peeling here. Must have hit something sharp, so be careful, I guess. Typing feels surprisingly good though. The keys are comfy, backlit with decent travel and feedback. The trackpad is actually bigger here, which is a nice surprise. Sure, it's not as stable on your lap as a proper laptop, but totally fine, even for long sessions. My only real gripe is the kickstand. It digs into your thighs if you're wearing shorts and leaves these nice little marks. The upside, your lap stays cool since the laptop isn't really on your lap, and the keyboard doesn't heat up at all. There's also some less obvious trade-offs compared to the larger Surface Pro. The USB ports are technically slower, the storage isn't as fast, and you can't easily swap it out like before, which kind of sucks. They also dropped the Surface Connect port, so now charging is only through USB-C. Now, you've probably realized this isn't meant to be a powerhouse. This is more for everyday productivity. Get your work done, sit through meetings, take some notes, browse the web, and then maybe stream some shows at the end of the day. It's running a slightly toned down Snapdragon X Plus chip, and for everyday use, it has been great. I keep in the best efficiency mode since I'm not doing anything heavy. It's still super snappy, apps open quickly, multitasking is smooth, and because it's fanless, it stays completely silent. I did try editing some video projects in DaVinci Resolve, and yeah, 4K footage is a no-go. But 1080p clips are totally fine if you keep things simple. Battery life has been solid. I've been averaging about 8 to 9 hours, but I always plug it in when I dip below 20%, so technically I could get a bit more out of it. Charging it with Microsoft's 45-watt brick, sold separately by the way, takes you to 80% in about an hour, and a full charge takes just over 90 minutes. The only time I've noticed it getting slightly warm is while charging. For everyday productivity, it stays nice and cool. One of the big things to keep in mind with these Snapdragon chips is app compatibility. Most of the popular stuff like Microsoft Office runs great because they've been updated for Windows on ARM. Windows also handles non-optimized apps much better these days, so most things are fine. They just might feel a bit slower or use more battery. Still, if you rely on older or less popular programs, they might not run very well or at all. If you're unsure, grab a list of all the apps you rely on and check if it's compatible before you buy this. I'll link a website where you can just type app names in and it'll tell you if it's been confirmed to work or not. Of course, this thing comes with all of Microsoft's AI features. You've got AI baked right into apps like Word, Excel, and Edge, so you can ask for help or get summaries without the hassle of copying and pasting between windows. Plus, the Copilot key is still here. Just tap it to pull up the AI assistant whenever you want. I actually find that I'm using Copilot way more often, so yeah, the button works. Then there's Recall, probably the most talked about and most controversial feature. It quietly snaps screenshots of everything you do to build a searchable timeline. There are some privacy concerns, right? Thankfully, it's opt-in, so you can just leave it off. Click to Do is a newer feature that's kind of like Android's Circle to Search. You can hold down the Windows key and click, or swipe in from the right to bring it up. From there, you can summarize text, make bullet points, reword things in different tones, and even do stuff with images, like reverse search with Bing, or quickly remove the background in the photo editor. The text generation stuff could be a little faster, but overall, I like the feature. There's smaller stuff too, like better photo search. You can describe what you want and it'll try to find it. When I searched popsicle, it found the shot I wanted, but ice cream brought up nothing. So yeah, not perfect. So is the Surface Pro 12-inch finally a real tablet? Kinda. It's the most convincing it's ever been. Lighter, cleaner, and more comfortable to hold. Those are nice improvements. But at the end of the day, this is still running Windows, a desktop-first OS. So if you're looking for the best pure tablet out there, this still isn't it, and probably won't ever be. But hey, this isn't really meant for the person who only wants a tablet. It's for someone who knows that they need Windows, but likes the idea of something they can also use on the couch, in bed, or jotting notes in a classroom without feeling completely tied to a full laptop. The pricing, especially once you add the pen, keyboard, and charger, makes this far from budget friendly. But I had to say, there's something really charming about this, even with all the trade-offs. Apple and Microsoft are both chasing that sweet spot between a laptop and a tablet. I think this 12-inch Surface Pro moves Microsoft closer. iPadOS 26 will probably do the same for Apple. It'll be interesting to see how things play out for both. As usual, thank you so much for watching. Until the next one, I'm out of here.